Hello, everyone. It is me again. It is me. It is Debbie Weidel. I am coming to you again because this is just a special day. We had an interview this morning with Jackie, and this afternoon I am having Susan join me. I think many of you will remember we had some technical difficulties a couple of weeks ago, and we were so sad that we could not get you the interview. So Susan has been kind enough to knock some time out of her schedule today to join us. So Susan, thank you for being here today.
Hello.
So I'm just going to double check and make sure that we are live on Facebook before we get started here, because I want to make sure I can see everyone's comments. If anyone jumps on. So do me a favor, if you are watching live, just give me a quick hello. Let me know that you're on live. And if you're watching on the replay, just let me know on the replay. A really quick intro for those of you who don't know me. My name is Debbie Weidel. I am a functional migraine health coach specialist, here to help you get to the root cause of your particular migraines so that you no longer have to use cover-ups, quick fixes, medications, surgeries, and all the things that are keeping you stuck and keeping you living a life with migraines. I'm so glad that you're all here in this group. As I said this afternoon when I talked to Jackie, I'm sorry that you're here because that means you have migraines, but I'm also thrilled that you're here because we are a group about taking action. We're a group about moving forward, not about staying stuck and doing the same thing over and over again. And the reason these amazing women come on and share their time with me and with you is to give you their story so that you do know that there is hope. And I'm so sorry if you guys can hear my dog in the background. We might not have technical difficulties, but then of course a dog walks by just as we're recording and disturbs my dog. But we do these interviews so that you know you don't have to live a life with pain and so that you can hear these stories. So let me just tell you a little bit about Susan before we get started, and then we'll dive right in. So Susan has acquired 44 top 10 national rankings in master swimming. She's won 3 open water races in Mexico, and we were just talking about how amazing the water is down there, how warm and beautiful. She's been a fitness trainer and instructor for more than 30 years and oh my goodness, I'm tongue-tied, and is an Ashtagandha 200 RYT certified instructor through the Yoga Alliance. She's the author of Fitter Than Ever at 40 and Beyond, Fitter Than Ever at 50 and Beyond, and the producer of Personal Best Stretch, Move Better Than Ever. And Susan has an online yoga class that can be streamed 24/7 on her Sea and Sun Yoga Vimeo pages. So again, Susan, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for the invitation to be here. I'm really glad to be able to talk to you all and share some of my experiences in the program and beyond.
Absolutely. So before the first question, I just want to let everyone know if Susan's face looks familiar, it's because Susan did come on and do an expert interview for us. Gosh, I can't even remember, Susan, what, maybe 3-4 months ago? Susan
sounds about right.
As her yoga instructor hat, that's the hat she had on that day, and ran through some amazing yoga poses to help women that have migraines with some of the neck discomfort, back discomfort. So if anyone who is watching right now or watching the replay is interested in that, please just say yoga in the comments and we will make sure that we tag you on that, because that video also has all of Susan's information on how to get a hold of her for her yoga classes and all that. So we want to make sure that you have all that information. All right, so now on to all the good stuff, why everybody's here. So Susan, you had migraines for a while, obviously, just like everyone else. You found us on Facebook, pretty much how everybody else finds us. You were, scrolling on Facebook, and because I'm sure you've done some searches on migraines and that kind of thing, Big Brother's watching and put my information kind of in front of you. And we had a chat and we decided that the Freedom From Migraine Method would be the best way for us to work together. So you joined the program and graduated. What do you feel helped you the most during your time and about the Freedom From Migraine Method program?
So, I tried, like a lot of people that have joined you, a million different ways to try to get rid of my migraines. I mean, they came kind of with menopause. I didn't have them growing up or anything. And then just all of a sudden, it's been about 12 years ago that all of a sudden they just came into my life and were starting to wreak havoc. But essentially, I tried all these things, and I tried also a program that's very good, but it was too like everybody has to do exactly the same thing. And it just didn't work for me. After being a trainer and an athlete all my life, I'm very in tune with my body. And so I was really looking for something that would give me a lot of structure, but at the same time also offer a little flexibility in being able to do things in a way that were making sense for me, my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And your program, Debbie, was just perfect for that. I love the structure of having the videos and the weekly groups where we got online and discussed different questions and things. All of it was very structured, and having the videos allowed me to just like squeeze in things when I had the time, so I could still do everything else I needed to do. And so I really like the ability to have the structure, and the different modules in the program are so helpful, because you look at all these areas of your life and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't really think about that, but yeah, that's definitely a problem for me. So I really appreciated that. Something that I identified pretty early on was that stress was a big problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a wonderful module on stress management. I had been trying to manage stress through exercise, meditation, and yoga, which is very good. But unfortunately, I wasn't well enough to really implement those things as fully as I wanted to. And also another important part of managing my stress is also spiritual study, which is also, as most of you know, very difficult to read anything when you have a horrible headache. So, actually, it's just all these elements of the program really worked well. Something else that really made a huge difference to me was having the support of all these other women. So I actually had the opportunity to meet two people in the group, including Barbie Miller and also another Debbie Williams. I met both of them, which is really amazing, just to get to meet people that I talked to online many times and just make that personal connection. And then I have a painting here by Kimberly Shaw. She made me this beautiful sea turtle painting, which I'm a sea turtle rescue volunteer, so it just warms my heart to have this painting in our home here. But connecting with women. So, because I think one thing that was really hard for me as I was really in that worst phase several years ago where I had migraines almost every day is nobody understands you. Everybody just thinks,
Right.
Oh, you're this sick person. And, they think that you're high maintenance, or they think that you're a hypochondriac, and nobody gets it,
Right.
And when you're in this group, everybody gets it. Everybody understands that you're going through a very difficult time, and they just kind of embrace you and help you feel very welcome, and like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that really, I can't even begin to express what a difference that made to me, to have that warm embrace of you and Erin and all the people in the group. It really, really made me so happy. And, we need a little joy in our lives to help us during these difficult times. And so those are some of the highlights for me.
Well, I'm so glad to hear how beneficial it was. And I'd like to kind of piggyback up a couple of things you said. There are so many people out there that support women that have migraines. And I think that they all have an amazing place and are right for certain people. And we won't go into the name of the person, who you worked with, because I actually, do respect that person as well. And that program is very rigid. And actually, I have referred people to that program before when it's warranted. And this is kind of why, for those of you who are watching, and let's just kind of relate it to, let's say you want to try to lose weight, right? You want to work with a weight loss coach. You can kind of sign up for that online yourself. You don't really necessarily need to talk to the person. You can just sign up and start doing it. Well, we don't do that here. We don't just like throw a link out there and say, if you want to work with me, you can just sign up. We actually jump on a phone call with you, because we want to make sure that what we do can actually help you. And if it can't help you, we want to make sure we find someone who can, because it's not going to do, like Susan, it would have done you no good to have these migraines for years and years, been trying to do things on your own. And then you work another program that wasn't actually quite a good fit for you. then what would happen if you'd come to us and ours wasn't a good fit for you? You would have been so discouraged, right? And you wouldn't have gotten anywhere. So we work really hard at making sure that each and every woman that joins us, that we accept into our program is someone that we know we can support. I'm not saying it's always easy. And sometimes the work is a little challenging, you have some ups and downs, but I think it's really important to say that, there's a right and a wrong program and a way to work with everyone. And what Susan was referring to in ours is that we really focus on community. And I think that is key. As Susan mentioned, all the different friends that she's kept, from being in the group and the contacts that she's made. And many of the women in the group have had opportunities to go and meet the other women. And we support women all across the country, actually all across the world, I should say. So it's pretty amazing to be able to do that. We have women in the UK, in Canada, in China, in Mexico, obviously, in Australia, in the US. So I love the fact that that was something that was important to you. So you saw, we chatted, you and I chatted, and many women have chats with me, like 100 a month. What was it about the Freedom from Migraine method that made you decide to give it that one more chance? You just mentioned all the things you liked about it, but what was it really that you're like, all right, I got to give this a try? Why did you want to give it a try after chatting with me?
Well, again, just to be clear about what I was saying before, because I don't in any way want to portray that I have disrespect for the other people that have these programs out there, because I did learn some things in those programs that were really helping me. So it was just that there was this rigidity and people zooming in on me and trying to force me to do stuff that I knew wasn't going to work, and that just wasn't for me. So, but I think what happened was I had tried some things that were maybe doing some good, and I still wasn't really making the progress that I wanted to make. My ultimate goal was to nix the triptans, never take another triptan. And, that was something that other people were also encouraging, that it was just like, oh, just stop taking triptans, like you can just stop taking them. But it's not that easy when you're in agony all the time, 24 hours a day, to just say, oh, I'm just going to throw these pills out today.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So, I know that when we talked, that you talked about making transitions to a different lifestyle. There was something about that was appealing, instead of just like this cold turkey approach where all of a sudden you just like, don't do this, don't do that, don't take that. And then I just felt, honestly, sometimes when things are going wrong in my life, I just start praying. And when I talked to you, I was just like, you know what? This is the right thing for me to do. And my husband felt like it was the right thing to do because he talked to you as well. And so I just really felt like this was the beginning of my pathway to really getting somewhere with this. And so, I felt like you were offering the structure, the encouragement, and the flexibility that I was really looking for. So, and then, making those transitions instead of doing things too rapidly, which can be kind of jarring for a body that's already kind of in distress,
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. We talked about, I just had a coaching call before this, and we talked about that on the coaching call for my clients in the Freedom from Migraine method, how whenever we do anything, we really work on the slow and steady, which I'm sure, Susan, you remember me saying that probably 50 times a day.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything is slow and steady. We don't want to make any drastic changes. And a lot of it is because our brain likes normalcy. And normalcy isn't always what's healthy for us, right? If we're living in old patterns, like I'll just use myself as an example. When I had migraines, I was doing things that weren't right for me, but my brain still felt that that was right because that was normal. So you really have to like retrain your brain to know what is right for your body and what isn't, so that you can be the person that's actually giving your body what it needs on a daily basis to do its own job. And that's what we try to do, is get our body used to that. Then once it is, slowly work off the medications, slowly work off of the Botox or, whatever else we're doing, so that we can make that transition, instead of just going like this, we make that nice little transition. So kind of
So it was
segue.
toward the end of the program, it was toward the end of your program that I stopped taking the triptans. Because
Mhm.
I came in about this time of year, I came in sometime in July. And so it was October before I went
Yep.
off the triptan.
Absolutely. And there are some
So,
people that may go the whole program and not try to get off the medications till the end, like till they're ready to leave, because it really depends on your level of healing, right? If you have
yeah.
massive gut health issues, it could take 6 months to a year to heal. If you have 1 or 2 autoimmune conditions and migraines, it could take a long time to heal. So everyone comes in at a different pace. If you come in with migraines and fortunately haven't had your inflammation raised, so you don't have any other issues, then maybe you can be someone like Karen, who was 2 weeks in and was migraine free, or Connie, who was a month and a half, who was migraine free. But typically the average is 4 months. And that's why the program is 4 months, because we have to try to find something that's going to work well for most. So, okay. So we just talked about the brain a little bit. So tell me, when you were in the program, we kind of already talked about community, the brain, having people there to support. You talked about the stress module, which is key in our program. We actually have a very specific coaching call that just deals with mindset, and we have a mindset coach. Did you notice any mindset shifts happening along the way when you were in the program?
Yeah, absolutely. And as a lot of them were a result of the stress management module and some of the spiritual study that I was able to do as I felt better. One thing I had identified, that, sometimes Erin talked about this too, because a lot of things, it's just like you are aware of it or you experienced it. And so it's just like you're getting bombarded. Like, for example, if every time you smell perfume, you get a migraine, then sometime you might get a migraine just because you think you're going to get a migraine because you got it before. And so I had to get to this place where I recognized that sometimes I didn't have to get a migraine just because I had had a migraine before because of that specific situation. But sometimes all I needed to really do was stop and do some yoga breathing, and I could find my way back to harmony in that situation. And I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not easy. And because I still have situations where I start to get the prodromes because of smelling perfume or a cigarette, or just being in a situation where I had a migraine before, and I start to just feel really stressed and anxious and bad. And then, I've been able to like work my way out of it. But, it's not something that I could just ignore it and not do anything, because otherwise I would end up in trouble. So, but, I think as months go by, it's, I'm going to have more and more times where I smelled perfume and didn't get a migraine, where I was with a bunch of people and they were kind of noisy and I didn't get a migraine, that kind of thing. Last night I survived fireworks and didn't get a migraine and an earthquake.
And we know how tough that is for so many people, right? I mean, so many people suffer PTSD after nights like last night, including our pets. It can be very traumatic when those things happen. So that brain work. And I know that you've done a lot of this work through, finding things in your world that bring you to a place of peace, like teaching yoga, your sea turtle rescue, your meditating and your spiritual study, those are all things that I know you've said that you really add into that, your healing journey, and how important that is for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's important to recognize, I think we tend to get into this headspace where we think that some people are healthy and some people are just destined to be sick their whole life, which is really discouraging to feel that way. And, through my yoga practice and my meditation, and, I read yoga scripture and Christian scripture. I've come to believe that health and harmony and balance in the body and the mind are something that is available to all of us. And so, don't think that you can't find a better situation for yourself, because you can. It's not necessarily going to be a straight, short path, but it can happen for you. And, it's so important to just maintain that faith in yourself. So that it is possible.
Absolutely. And I'll just say for anyone that it is a straight, short path, that's the rare unicorn. It really is. You know, I would love to say that, sure, if you call me up tomorrow, we get on the phone, you work with me, that I would love to be able to say that you'd be migraine free in 2 weeks, but that would be a big fat lie. And nothing I would ever say to anybody, you know, because it is the rarity there. We call it the migraine roller coaster, you know, because as Susan experienced this a lot, you know, you have some great days and all of a sudden you have some bad days, and you have some great days and bad days. And it's just part of the process. It is not because one person did something wrong, or, you know, it's just part of that person's process, part of their body and part of their journey. And everyone's journey is a little bit different, which is why I believe it's imperative, whether you work with me, whether you work with someone else, I think it's imperative that you work with someone and a team and a community so that you can get daily support to guide you through that process. You know, it takes a village, right? It takes a village.
Absolutely.
And I
Definitely.
think that it's key here. I really do think it's key. So I love all the other programs out there. The only thing that I would ever say about anyone, and this is not the one Susan did, but if you're working with someone who you only get to talk to once a month, just think about the implications of that compared to somebody you can talk to on a daily basis. That's all. You know, just really think about that. Knowing that you have a place to go to every day, I think really makes a big difference. So I know you've told me in the past that migraines, you know, we don't want to dwell on the negative. We like to focus on the positive here, but, you know, you've told me that migraines made you feel old and insignificant, you know, because life revolved around that constant obsession over every possible trigger. So what was it within you that helped you be able to move past that and go to the more positive end? Because it's not easy being positive when you're in pain, is it?
No, definitely not. And so, but I think that, you know, what I started to notice is that the first thing that I started to do was not to talk about migraines when I would be in social situations, you know, because it got to be to the point where my friends just thought of me as this person with migraines, and, you know, that was the first thing they would think about. And so I stopped talking about having migraines. And if I had migraines, I tried to do either just stay inside or stay away from people, so they didn't really know too much what I was dealing with. And then there wasn't always this constant thing like, did you get a migraine this week, or all that kind of thing, because it's negative. I mean, you know, again, you know, there is negative energy out there. Some of us feel it more than others, but if everybody's assuming you're going to be sick and assuming that you're going to have a problem and thinking about you as a sick person, it doesn't give you a morale boost.
No.
And that's what we need a morale boost, not people to hold us back. And so, you know, when I stopped talking about it, that was instantly helpful. I also tried to spend the time that I was feeling well reading scripture and meditating, instead of reading stuff about migraines, about what supplements to take and what, you know, different medications to try to take, or you know, to take a sip of Coke or whatever, you know, all the stuff that you hear. And so I wasn't buying all these gizmos online, you know, to stick on my ears and to put on my nose and all this other stuff. Yeah, they have like stuff for wrists and everything to get rid of migraines. And I still have a lot of those in a drawer somewhere.
They're filled in your junk drawer.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, so I started to just like use my time to focus on moving forward instead of being stuck in this space, and starting to try to think of myself in terms of health instead of in terms of, you know, lack of health and having this condition and that kind of thing. And, you know, it's just like when you're ill a lot, you see people your own age that are going out and doing lots of stuff. And then, you know, you feel like, oh, you know, I'm almost like an 80-year-old, you know, because I have to go to bed at the same time every night and eat certain foods or whatever. And, you know, I just started to just kind of follow a schedule that was working for me and try to make it a no-brainer, instead of like a lot of analysis about what am I going to have for breakfast or what time am I going to go to bed or, how much water am I going to drink today or whatever. It was more of a just, go through the motions and do what I got to do without a lot of ceremony around it, if that makes any sense. Just
Absolutely.
so that my mind was focused on other things, and it helped me to focus on doing good things for other people too. So instead of just worrying about me all the time, my health and everything. And I'm not saying self-care isn't important, because I'd be the first person to tell you, as a fitness person, you do have to take care of yourself before you can go out and take care of somebody else. But I tried to also just use a lot of my emotional energy on helping other people on their journeys in yoga, and going out and doing some of my sea turtle work. And honestly, just the distraction of having my mind away from avoiding a migraine actually a lot of times really, really helped me. I even had periods of time where I wasn't sure if I should do something because I had a little bit of a headache, and I went out and I forgot about it. And then I was like, oh, I had that headache and it's gone.
Yep. Well, we have to remember that stress can actually cause more inflammation than inflammatory food. There are studies that are published in PubMed about this. So it's not something that I'm just pulling out of a hat. So if we know that physical and mental stress can cause this type of reaction, we have to stop to think about, really what Sue is saying is something we all need to pay attention to. Because let's face it, women that have migraines are the best researchers on the face of the earth. But that's almost to your detriment, right? Because you have the migraine. When you don't have the migraine, you're either rushing around the house trying to get everything done before the next migraine comes. So you're focusing on the migraine still. You don't have the pain, but you're focusing on, I got to get stuff done. I got to get stuff done. Or if you're not doing that, you're researching migraines. So anyone that's watching the replay or watching right now, tell me the honest truth. How many days a month do you not think about a migraine? How many days a month? And I bet that most of you are going to say 0. Because you think about migraine, you either have one, you're thinking about it, you're researching, or you're living your life to get ready before the next one comes. So what Susan did was, even though she knew, yes, I have to take care of myself, yes, I have to find a way, you found us to do that heavy lifting for you, to do all the Googling, to do all that stuff, so that when you weren't on a coaching call, when you weren't asking a question in the group, you could live your life. You could go live your life. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did to be able to shift from that negative to that positive. And it sounds like you did a lot of that with prayer as well. And I know for you, for you personally, the relationship that you have with God played an important role in your improved health.
Yes,
so
it did. So, and honestly, during the time of the program, I did think about migraines a fair amount, because there was so much studying and so much time online. And then plus I wanted to interact with everybody. So I was pretty, engrossed in that, but I kind of made a commitment to myself that when I graduated from the program, that I wasn't going to be constantly hanging out on the page, and I was going to kind of just, keep my friendships, but just kind of clip ties with feeling like I had to hang on and read all this stuff all the time. And then to start to just fly a little bit. And, that's been really good for me. Most mornings, as you suggested, some of the meditating and stuff, but I mean, I start most days meditating and reading scripture. That's what I do the first thing I get out of bed. And I ask God for guidance as far as like, what can I do to try to make the world a better place? And so I'm really just trying to stay in tune and listen to that as I go through my day. And it really makes all the difference in the world to me. I just, it's easy to almost feel like you've been abandoned by God when you're suffering so much. And, but when you find those moments of light, then you can ask God for help. And a lot of times you'll find that you get messages that will tell you kind of what the next step is and what you need to do. And in some ways, I'm grateful for migraine, because it was like a wake-up call to remind me not only that I wasn't living in the way that I needed to take good care of my health, but that I wasn't really thinking and living and doing the things in my life in the best possible way. So I feel like I become a better person as a result of the spiritual journey that I've been on along the way.
Absolutely. And if anyone didn't hear that, go back and listen to that part again, and then listen to it again, and then listen to it again, and then do it one more time. Because I think the key thing that we need to remember here is we all deserve to live a life. You know, we were put on this earth, whether it does not matter if you're watching this, so you believe in God, you believe in something else, you believe we got here scientifically, I don't care what you believe, but we are all put on this earth to live, not to be in pain, not to manage through every day. Now, that's not to say we're not going to have bad days, you know, where things, you know, don't go the way we wanted, or, you know, we get sick or whatever, but we were put here to live and to bring light and joy to, you know, those around us and to do great things for the world. And we need to honor that. You know, we need to honor the fact that that's why we're here. And whatever it takes for us to get there is something we really should focus on. You know, for Sue, it's, you know, you do the yoga, you do the sea turtle rescue, you know, you spend a lot of time in meditation and spirituality. For somebody else, it might just be being with family. You know, being with family is what lights them up and what brings them what they need. And this is something that we've actually really started focusing on in the Freedom From Migraine Method program, which is our main signature way of working with people. We actually do a wins post that we've done. We did that when Susan was there too. Everyone's kind of asked to post something that's gone well that week so that we can focus on the positive. You know, we still know that there's migraines there. We still know that there's work, but let's focus on the positive. But the other thing we're starting to ask what women are doing is what one thing that they're doing fun for themselves that week. What are they doing that brings them joy? What are they doing that lights them up? And we started doing this because we found that people couldn't tell us what they were doing for fun. They were forgetting the fun. And even though in the Freedom From Migraine Method, there is work to be done, you know, as Susan will say, there is work to be done, and it's not easy. It doesn't come, you know, just like that. You still have to set it aside for part of the day and remember, you know, why you're doing that work. What is the end result? To get back to living your life, to spark your relationship with your spouse again, to, you know, get back to be the parent you want to be, or the daughter you want to be, or vacationing, or going back to school. You know, what is it that lights you up and why are you doing this? And so we've started really focusing on that in the group, and it is so fun to see what everyone posts on. We do it on Saturday, and it's so fun to see what people are posting. And it sounds like, Sue, that you're living that, you know, that you're living that day to day now.
Well, you know, I mean, in the areas of relationships, I've seen a lot of progress. You know, I mean, my husband was, I mean, he was suffering symptoms of PTSD just from living with me because I was, you know, I was getting very, very sick. And a lot of times when I'd have a migraine, it would be a storm that would last for 7 to 10 days. And I was just really, really sick. So my husband was traumatized. You know, I couldn't get together with my mom or my daughter and son very often. I couldn't socialize with my friends. So, but really, honestly, you know, really since like Christmas, I've probably maybe missed 1 or 2 social events with my family. I mean, and even like last time I was in Tucson, I didn't feel well in the morning, and I told my mom, I'm a little bit off right now. So I don't know if you can come for dinner. And by 3 o'clock, I was like, yeah, go ahead and come. I'm fine. And so, you know, it's just like really made a huge difference. My husband doesn't even like worry that much about me getting a migraine anymore. You know, I have my kids over for dinner. In your program, I got all these great recipes. And so I developed this joy for cooking now. And so I have all these recipes. So I love having everybody over for meals. Have my neighbors over for meals and stuff. So that's really fun. And, you know, actually the food is good for me, and people love it. So it's all good. Yeah.
I love that. And obviously
So,
I know, you know, how much you do know about health and wellness because you are in the health and wellness space, you know, the yoga, the books that you're writing. So it's amazing. And I want everyone to hear that you can eat healthy food and enjoy it, right? Because don't we have that stigmatism out there so much of, you know, oh, healthy food is not going to taste good. or I'm going to have
Well,
to eat
yeah.
this diet and it's going to be terrible, but it doesn't have to be that way.
And it's just a lot of it, even with me, because I was really skewed too, was that, as an athlete, all my coaches and everything are going to say, eat all the carbs, eat the carbs. So I'm loading up on all this stuff that really isn't healthy. And, even the American dietary guidelines are pretty skewed as far as really what you really want to be eating. And so just making that transition into like recognizing like what kind of food do I really want to be feeding my body.
Mhm.
So, and
Absolutely.
that's something that you guys did an excellent job of just trying to help us as far as like what foods are going to work for different people, and recipes and all that kind of stuff, which really, really helped me. I mean, I still have my notebook right here of all
I love it.
my recipes and all the quizzes and stuff that I took during the program. So I never leave home without it.
I love it.
But,
I love
yeah.
it. Yeah. Just remember, everyone, you can eat good food. You really can, and
Mhm.
everyone eats a little bit different. But we help you figure that out. And everyone's going to eat different at a different phase in their life. I use this example today. When you're pregnant and when you're 2, you eat totally differently, right? You're not going to eat the same foods as when you're 2-year-old and when you're pregnant. Well, the same thing is during your phases of migraine. You might eat a little differently in the beginning of our program, but then we slowly try to get you to eating the most quote unquote normal way possible. So when you go to a restaurant, when you go to someone's house, you can eat some of the foods without feeling like you're being really restricted, and enjoy them. Because let's face it, food is fun. It's fun to eat good food. So, well, anyway, Sue, I want to respect your time and everyone else's time. And I really can't thank you enough for being here today to be so open with your journey and share so much of, what this experience has been like for you. So I'd like to give you one last opportunity before we go. And just again, thank everyone that's here. Lana's here. Debbie Williams is here. Heather is here. Lori is here. Lisa Merkel is here. We've got some of the people that were in the program with you are here.
Yeah,
Sarah's
for
here.
sure.
Catherine's here. So ladies, thank you for popping on today. But Susan, is there anything that you would like to share? Any last words of wisdom or anything you'd like to share with the 3,000 plus women in this group right now who are in a place that you were, like a year ago, and just not finding their migraine freedom?
So, well, I think I definitely want to encourage you to believe that you can find a journey out of this situation, because it is possible. I mean, I'm just one of dozens of women that have gone through this program, thought they couldn't ever succeed, and then they did succeed. And so, last year at this time, this was about when, I had a 9+ migraine, and we were talking to you on the phone, just kind of like, I don't know about this, and then, today my life looks so much different. So it's totally possible. But you need to invest in yourself on every level. You need to go ahead and sign up for the program, bond with the women who are going through the same things, so you can really, really reap the benefits of the support from Debbie and Erin and everybody in the group. And just dive into it, even if you're working full time. I was lucky that I wasn't working full time when I was doing this, so I had more time to dedicate. But just make sure that you cut out that time so you can really get everything that you need to out of the program and start living your better life, because it makes such a difference. So, I'm teaching more yoga. I'm enjoying vacations. My husband never wanted to take another trip with me. We just went to Lake Tahoe, flew on the airplane, all sorts of changes and stuff, no headaches, no problems. It was a beautiful time. So, you can travel, you can spend time with your family, you can swim, you can do whatever you want. But it takes work, and this program will help you to get there. And I'm really excited too, because I'm about ready to release another book called Swimming with Dolphins. And, it was kind of my dream to share all the beautiful experiences that I've had out swimming in the water with these beautiful creatures. And honestly, I would encourage all of you to go out and just experience the outdoors and wildlife, because just being outside and hearing nature sounds, it just feeds my soul. And I think almost everybody can just feel that sense of peace and quiet in nature that is just, you know, out there waiting for you. So
Absolutely. I love that. That's like the perfect way to end, to remind us all of what's important and to get out there in nature, because when we're in pain, we kind of stick ourselves inside in a room, right? In a dark, closed off room, but we need that. We need that vitamin D. We need that natural beauty outdoors. So please, everyone, if you're watching, just let us know if you need some support. If you have any questions for Susan or myself, feel free to tag us in this video. You know, we are here to answer your questions and to see what we possibly can do to move you in the right direction. Because again, this is a group about moving forward. This is not a group about staying stuck or dwelling on the negative. It's about finding that positive and finding a way to actually give you the time back that you deserve to be able to live your life. So Susan, again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. Everyone else.
thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Everyone else that's watching, thank you for being here. And here's to your migraine-free day, everybody. We will see you in the group. Take care.
Bye.